Well, I left base camp, Pneumatic Fanatic with Eric's. Went down the road to put gas in. I was able to get 11 gallons in, and for some reason I couldn't get no more gas in. I don't understand why. I knew I needed more than that. So me and Eric was like, we'll just go on, you know. Well, I noticed I started having a little skip in the RV. Check plug wires. I probably got a plug fouled out. I don't have far to go. I just want to get to my next stop. But here's the thing, you can't make this shit up. What I mean is, you know what these are for, and you know what that is. Going across.
You need some Vanna White juice. Maybe.
I run the battery down trying to, for some reason the battery, I went to crank it, I spun over barely any, and then just yeah, I tried letting it sit and let my solar batteries kind of carry juice back up here. That didn't work, so I had to go buy jumper cables. Yeah, I don't own jumper cables. Yeah, $42 for a set of jumper cables. Welcome to being on the interstate.
I should have been more prepared.
I should have. So I put jumper cables on it. We're gonna let it sit a minute. I'm gonna have to check, see if I may have an alternator that might be alternator's going bad. So I'm just trying to get over to my next stop. I'll be there for a couple days. So when I get there, I'm going to replace the plugs. I don't think it's the wires. I'm going to put new plugs in it. If it still does it, I'm going to put new wires in it. Still does it. Cat rotor. You know, anyway, let's see if we can get this crank up in a minute.
The heck?
This makes the 5th breakdown I've had in this RV. Everything's been minor, but it's just enough to, it wears you down. So I don't know. I'll get back with you.
Hey, I hear it running.
Finally, I pulled the distributor cap off, cleaned the cap and rotor, and she started up. I even tried a new ignition module. So there's $50 there. Plus $40 for jumper cables. And now I got to replace cap and rotor. But I got it started and running. I'm putting it back together, making my trip. I ain't shutting it off. Well, I'm changing my plugs. I'm going to change the cap and rotor and the wires. But the rotor is not the right one for this. This is an 89, and I looked everything up. They went and picked it up yesterday, got back, started messing with it, and rotor's different, so I looked up for a 90, and the 90 matches for the distributor. So the distributor may have been changed out in this at one time, but changing the also they had to order the wires, so they didn't have the wires in stock. So I figured while it's nice and cold, I'm gonna go ahead and just change all the plugs in it. and then I'll have to go down, put this all back together, drive down to AutoZone, exchange the cap and rotor, and pick up my wires. And then I'm gonna stop somewhere, let this thing cool back down again, and then change the wires. The cap and rotor I'm gonna change there at AutoZone because that's easy to do, but the wires I'll do that after it cools down. But that'll really tell me, you know, a lot. Now, if you've never done a tune-up on a RV with a 460 this is an 89 Ford E350 chassis with the 460 gas engine. Now there's a lot of engine stuffed in here. 351, yeah, you can get in there and change plugs, no problem, you got room. But when you put a big block in, things change. These three I was able to get to fairly easy. The front one up there, it was a little difficult to get to, but I got it with no problem. First plug was definitely fouled out. They all needed changing. Now the driver's side, now one of them I had to get through this little hole in here, and number one is right back here. That's the hard one. I was able to get 3 and 4 out easy. 2 was the one I had to get through the wheel well. Number 1, I'm having to play Stretch Armstrong from the front. You can't even see it from the front, but you can feel it. So I'm getting them all changed. What I'm doing right now is just numbering all the plugs so I know how they're firing and everything else. And once I get the wires, the cap and the rotor on here, that should be better. And definitely get those wires, because I don't think it's never been changed. The plugs have been changed. I had one plug in here that was actually loose. That was number 3. So it was definitely loose. I'll show you the plug. It really don't even look like it was firing, but there's nothing built up on it. So, but it's, you know, that one's concerning to me. But once I get the new plugs and wires and everything else, I mean, I've driven this thing to Arizona and everything else. Yeah, I've never had a problem skipping, driven it in town, never had a problem. Then once I started coming up this way, that's when I started having problems. Map sensors, stuff like that. And I think that may have been what kind of got the plugs. And then once I got ready to leave base camp there, to come over here to East Alton, that's when it started. So this is what I'm dealing with. I'm trying to get this put back together. I'm on my last plug. I'm gonna try to get it done before it rains so I can get done here and then head over to Modified Auto over to Sean's shop and take a look at some stuff up over there. So once I get these all done, we'll crank it up and we'll see how it goes.